This one idea will change your life forever. Keynotes: 1. The power of personal responsibility. 2. You become what you focus on. Change is a decision, not a feeling. Pain can be your greatest catalyst.
Your habits predict your future.
6. Vision determines direction. 7. You must outgrow the old you. 8. Time is not money. Time is life. Delay is not denial. 10. Divine alignment over human approval. Introduction. There are moments in life where everything can change, not because your circumstances change, but because your mindset does. One idea, one realization, one truth embraced at the right time can completely transform your path, your identity, and your destiny. We live in a world saturated with information but starved for wisdom. And in all the noise, many miss the one idea that could shatter the chains holding them back. This speech isn't about motivation for the moment. It's about imparting a truth that has the power to redirect your entire life. Most people search for external miracles when the real transformation begins internally. The biggest breakthroughs in life come not from changing your environment, but from changing how you think about your life. It only takes one idea to pull you from the pit, to break the addiction, to escape the pattern, to start the business, to forgive the person, to reclaim your identity. But that one idea must be planted deep, not just in your mind, but in your spirit. This is not a collection of random inspiration. This is a journey, a climb, a process, a confrontation. This message is your mirror and your challenge. If you stay with it until the end, you won't just learn something new. You will become someone new. You will discover the one idea that will break you free from the limitations you didn't even know were binding you. So don't just listen, engage, reflect, wrestle. Let this truth hit you so deep that it forces you to rise. Because the version of you that's been waiting on change, it's time to tell them that change is already here. It starts now. It starts today. It starts with one idea, and that idea will change your life forever. Keynote 1. The power of personal responsibility. There is a moment in every person's life when the fog lifts, when the excuses no longer hold weight, when the blaming, the waiting, and the hoping all give way to a single, clear, undeniable truth. No one is coming to save you. That moment is not one of despair, but of awakening. It is the moment when you realize that your future is not something you wait for, it's something you take responsibility for. Personal responsibility is the gateway to freedom. It is the foundational principle upon which every transformation is built. Until you take ownership of your life, nothing can truly change. You may shift circumstances, change relationships, or adjust environments, but the root remains the same. The external will never transform until the internal takes charge. Personal responsibility says, I am where I am, not solely because of what happened to me, but because of how I responded to what happened to me. This isn't about blame. It's about power. Blame keeps you bound to your past. Responsibility gives you the power to rewrite your future. The truth is, as long as you're blaming others, you're giving them power over your destiny. And the moment you reclaim that power is the moment you begin to truly live. It's not that life becomes easier. It's that you become stronger, wiser, and more in control of your choices. Some people have had unimaginable pain, injustice, or loss, and that pain is real. But there's a deeper tragedy than pain, and that is permitting the pain to become your identity. Responsibility doesn't deny your wounds. It says these wounds will not dictate who I become. It separates what happened to you from what you choose to do next. Because at the core of personal responsibility is choice, the power to decide who you will become in light of everything you've endured. Think about it, every hero you've admired in life, every figure who has inspired you. They weren't born great. They became great the moment they took responsibility for what they could control. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't depend on the approval of others. They didn't wallow in self-pity. They chose to stand up and lead their own lives. That power is not reserved for the extraordinary. It's available to everyone willing to accept the weight of their own calling. Personal responsibility means you take ownership of your mindset. You stop saying, I can't help how I feel, and start saying, I'm responsible for what I do with how I feel. It means you take charge of your reactions, your energy, your time, your effort. You stop waiting for motivation and start acting on commitment. You stop measuring life by what you didn't get and start building life by what you give. And let me be clear, Responsibility is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's about rising every time you fall, adjusting every time you miss it, and staying accountable even when no one is watching. That's where your power lives, in the unseen decisions, the quiet consistency, the internal resolve. That's where real change happens. Here's the reality. Your destiny is not in the hands of your critics, your enemies, your circumstances, or even your past. It's in your hands under God's guidance. When you take responsibility, you begin to partner with that divine blueprint over your life. You say, I may not control the storm, but I control how I sail. Responsibility is heavy, but it's also holy. It sanctifies your purpose. It refines your intentions. It matures your identity. Because when you take ownership of your life, you no longer live by accident. You live by assignment. You become the builder of your character, the steward of your calling, the architect of your tomorrow. And the beautiful part? When you embrace responsibility, you stop living reactive. You stop waiting for signs, for validation, for ease. You move forward in purpose. You build, you heal, you grow. Because personal responsibility doesn't just change your actions, it transforms who you are. And once you step into that power, no one can take it from you. It is yours, and it will change your life forever. Keynote 2. You become what you focus on. Energy flows where attention goes. Your life begins to mirror the things you meditate on. Focus on lack, and you'll see scarcity everywhere. Focus on growth, and opportunities begin to manifest. The power of your focus is not a soft principle, it's a spiritual law. You attract what you concentrate on. Your thoughts are seeds. Every day, you are planting something in the soil of your destiny, and whether or not you realize it, your focus is prophesying your future. You become the sum total of what you stare at. If your eyes are locked on fear, you will become a slave to anxiety. But if your vision is filled with purpose, passion, and belief, your life begins to take on the shape of a warrior on a mission. The brain has a reticular activating system, a filter that notices what matters to you. If you start focusing on wisdom, you'll start seeing solutions. If you start focusing on gratitude, you'll stop complaining and start receiving. God designed you to align with your attention. Change your focus and you change your experience. This is why comparison is so dangerous. It distracts you from your unique path. It blinds you to your blessing and makes you despise your portion. But when you focus inward and upward, you gain clarity, direction, and peace. The key to transformation isn't always effort. Sometimes it's attention. Fix your eyes on the truth, and the truth will transform what you see. Keynote 3. Change is a decision, not a feeling. Most people are waiting for a feeling to confirm a decision. But transformation begins when you make a choice, even when your emotions haven't caught up. Change doesn't wait for your comfort. It responds to your commitment. If you wait to feel ready, you'll never begin. Change requires discomfort. It demands sacrifice. But it starts with one firm, unwavering decision: I will not stay where I am. Your feelings are followers, not leaders. If you let emotion dictate your direction, you'll drift from purpose every time. But if you anchor your life in decisions built on truth, discipline, and clarity, your emotions will eventually align. The bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be is a decision. One act of obedience, one bold step, one refusal to settle. And here's the truth. The most powerful decisions are not made in noise, but in stillness. It's in those quiet moments when you draw the line and say, no more. Change doesn't come because life gets easier. It comes because you choose to get stronger. Make the decision. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Keynote 4. Pain can be your greatest catalyst. Pain has a purpose. What you call a breaking may actually be a birthing. What you label as trauma might be the training ground for your testimony. You don't have to enjoy pain, but you must learn how to use it. Because pain will either paralyze you or propel you. It will either wound you or wake you up. The outcome depends on your response. The fire that burns also refines. Pain exposes what you believe. It forces you to confront the parts of you that comfort has allowed to remain hidden. In suffering, your strength is revealed. In grief, your grit is forged. And in heartbreak, your heart is purified. There is a version of you that can only be accessed through the fire. So instead of asking why me, ask what is this teaching me? Instead of running from pain, dare to walk through it with eyes wide open. It might hurt now, but it will heal you later. Pain is not the end of your story. Sometimes it's the beginning of your becoming. Your scars are not signs of failure. They are symbols of survival. Keynote 5. Your habits predict your future. You don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. It doesn't matter how inspired you feel if your daily routine contradicts your destiny. Inspiration without discipline is delusion. A powerful life isn't built in a moment. It's built brick by brick through small, repeated actions. What you do consistently creates what you become permanently. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Want to change your life? Change what you do when no one is watching. Because your habits are either healing you or hurting you. They are either building your confidence or breaking it down. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. And every day is a vote for the person you want to become. Don't underestimate the power of small shifts. One change in routine can cause a chain reaction that rewrites your story. The world sees the results, but God sees the ritual. Build habits that reflect who you are becoming, not who you've been. Keynote 6. Vision determines direction. Where there is no vision, people perish. And where there is no vision, people wander. If you don't know where you're going, any distraction can become your destination. Vision is the map that guides your yes and protects your no. It is the compass that gives meaning to your movement. Without vision, you lose energy. With it, you become unstoppable. Vision doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you have a reason to keep going. It gives your pain a purpose and your steps a rhythm. It separates the urgent from the important. People who lose sight of their vision are the first to settle. They compromise for comfort. But those with vision walk differently. They speak differently. They choose differently. You need to see it before you see it. That's how faith works. It begins with a picture in your spirit before it manifests in your life. Guard your vision like it's your life, because it is. Your destiny is connected to your clarity. And the clearer the vision, the stronger the direction. Keynote 7. You must outgrow the old you. Growth always requires separation. The future you want demands the death of the you that no longer serves your calling. You can't enter a new season carrying old mindsets, toxic habits, or outdated fears. Transformation is not just addition, it is subtraction. It is pruning. It is becoming lighter so you can soar higher. Outgrowing yourself is the evidence of real progress. It means you're not at war with others. You're at war with the lesser version of yourself. That's the real battlefield. Every time you say no to an old pattern, you're saying yes to a new level. But don't expect everyone to celebrate your evolution. Some people love the old you because it made them comfortable. Keep growing anyway. Keep stretching. You are not here to repeat. You are here to rise. And that means breaking out of the shell of who you were. The cocoon is tight, but the wings are coming. Outgrow the lie. Outgrow the limitation. Outgrow the identity that fear built for you. Who you were is not who you have to remain. Keynote 8. Time is not money. Time is life. Time is the most precious currency you possess, because unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Every minute is a piece of your life exchanged for something. The question is, are you trading your time for purpose or for distraction? The greatest tragedy isn't running out of time, it's wasting it. You don't manage time, you steward it. And stewardship demands intention. Where you spend your time reveals what you truly value. You can tell someone's priorities not by their words, but by their schedule. We are all given the same 24 hours, but not everyone uses them with the same wisdom. You want to change your life? Start by tracking your time. Redeem it, protect it. Don't give it to people who drain you or to habits that numb you. Give it to what builds you. Invest it in your calling, your relationships, your health, your spirit. Because one day, time will run out. And the question will remain, did you live fully or just exist? Keynote 9. Delay is not denial. We live in a world that demands instant gratification. Fast food, fast results, fast breakthroughs. But the truth of life and faith is that delay does not mean denial. Just because your dream hasn't come to pass yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it never will. Delay is not a sign of abandonment. It is often a signal of preparation. Some of the most powerful promises come wrapped in patience. The seed you planted may be growing underground long before you see the fruit. But if you let delay discourage you, you may abandon the process moments before the breakthrough. Delay builds depth. It strengthens your roots. It forces you to trust beyond what you can see. Because if your faith only works on your timeline, then it isn't faith, it's convenience. Every delay you face is an invitation to grow, to mature, to refine your motives, to deepen your discipline, to strengthen your spirit. God doesn't just care about giving you the promise. He cares about who you become while waiting for it. Delay doesn't always mean no. Sometimes it means not yet. And sometimes the version of you that's ready to carry the blessing is still being shaped in the wait. The danger of misinterpreting delay is that we begin to doubt not just the timing, but the dream itself. But don't confuse silence for absence. The orchestra tunes in silence before the symphony begins. Heaven may be working behind the curtain while your faith is being stretched in the waiting room. The promise remains. The timing is divine, and your job is to remain faithful in the in-between. When you shift your mindset from frustration to formation, you realize delay has purpose. It makes you grateful for what's to come. It humbles you. It roots you. It teaches you to lean into trust, not timelines. Some of the most beautiful things in life take time to be formed. Diamonds, oaks, legacies, and you are one of them. Don't let delay drive you to compromise. Don't settle for lesser because you're tired of waiting. Stay rooted. Stay consistent. Keep building, because when the time comes, and it will make sense why it had to take this long. Delay may stretch you, but it will never destroy what's truly meant for you. That dream, that calling, that purpose, it's still alive. And delay doesn't cancel destiny. Keynote 10, divine alignment over human approval. One of the most liberating truths you will ever embrace is this: you don't need everyone's approval to fulfill your assignment. Chasing human validation will drain your soul and derail your purpose. But choosing divine alignment over human applause positions you to walk in real authority, peace, and power. Not everyone will understand you, not everyone will support you, but you were not called to be popular. You were called to be aligned. When you align with divine purpose, your steps begin to carry eternal weight. Your voice becomes clearer. Your spirit becomes stronger. You stop living to please the crowd and start living to hear, "Well done." The fear of man is a trap, but trust in divine alignment leads to freedom. When you stop living for the likes and start living from your convictions, your identity becomes unshakable. People may reject you when you choose the higher path. They may label you, misunderstand you, even mock you. But when you're aligned with heaven, you don't need earthly applause to stay steady. You were never created to fit into every room. You were created to shift atmospheres. And sometimes, standing in your truth will require standing alone. Divine alignment will cost you. It may cost you relationships, comfort, and opportunities, but it will always return more than it requires. Because when you are aligned with your Creator, you begin to operate in your true design. There is clarity, confidence, and supernatural favor that flows when you are where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do. You must choose. Will you live to be accepted, or will you live to be effective? Will you be authentic, or will you be agreeable? The world celebrates compromise, but heaven rewards alignment. Your worth is not up for debate. Your calling is not a popularity contest, and your value is not determined by applause. It's determined by assignment. So be bold. Be brave, be aligned, because divine alignment brings divine acceleration. What you chase through man's approval, God can accomplish through one act of obedience. You don't need everyone. You just need the right one. Alignment over approval. That's the path to purpose, and it will change your life forever. Conclusion. This one idea that your life can radically shift when you take full responsibility for it isn't just a concept. It's a command. Your transformation begins with ownership. Everything else flows from there. Your focus, your decisions, your response to pain, your habits, your vision, your growth, and your time. You don't need another miracle. You need a mindset. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. And you don't need permission. You need the courage to act. There is a calling on your life that will never be realized if you keep waiting. The truth is, you are not stuck. You are simply not yet surrendered to the idea that your life is in your hands under God's guidance. The moment you stop blaming and start building, everything changes. That's the one idea. And if you embrace it, it will not only change your life forever, it will change others through you. Thank you, Note. Thank you for opening your heart to receive this message. I don't take your time or attention for granted. May this word go deep into your spirit and bear fruit in your life. May you rise, rebuild, and rediscover who you were created to be. Your life has purpose, your time has value, and your journey has only just begun. Keep growing, keep pressing, keep believing. The best is not behind you, it is yet to come.